There's a lot of myths out there about hot yoga. In fact, there are so many that we put up a silly meme every Monday morning. We call it Yoga Myth Monday, to just share some of the stuff we've heard that doesn't make a ton of sense, or maybe it just isn't even based in truth. Probably the first thing we hear the most commonly is that you can't do yoga if you're not flexible. That's just like saying you're too hungry to have anything to eat, right? You come to yoga for that exact reason, to get flexible. And in fact, hot yoga is probably the easiest place if you're not flexible, because the heat opens up your blood vessels and warms up your muscles, so the likelihood of pulling a muscle as a tight person is much more reduced in warm exercise and warm stretching than it would be in a cold environment. So good reason for you to get to class. The second thing we hear often is that the teachers try to kill you with the heat, or maybe a student would say, I'm not good in the heat and I wouldn't be able to handle the heat. And the great news about that is that you are a human being, and we have these tremendously effective thermoregulation systems, and the yoga room is actually just hot enough for you to sweat, to open your blood vessels, to open your pores, and to reduce the risk of injury, but not hot enough that it increases your internal temperature very much. So if you don't like hot summer days, being hot 24 hours a day, or you really hate saunas, or you're not a big fan of a hot jacuzzi or a hot tub, don't worry. Class isn't like that. You have lots of open skin covered with sweat, and you'll find that your body temperature doesn't increase on average more than like 0.6 to 1 degree, which is the same as sort of any other type of exercise. There's also a big myth out there that Bikram yoga teachers are militant. And while I'm sure there are militant teachers out there, I don't doubt that that's happened. It's really not the most common theme. Most teachers I know that teach hot yoga are kind and loving, compassionate people. We teach these very specific body part centered present moment cues. So we'll say something like lift up your arms, as opposed to your arms are lifting up, which is a description. We do that on purpose to encourage moving meditation. So we're not telling you something that's happening or helping you to describe something that might be happening or might think about doing, but rather actually giving a direction so that your brain has a really simple way to tie something that's happening in the present moment to your attention to that subject. And that's why they call it a 90-minute moving meditation. We do it over and over and over again. Somebody that you knew heard a bunch of cues given that way, and they thought, oh, these people are so demanding. That's not it at all. It's a meditation technique. Let's see. Oh, number 4, probably on that same line, is people have said these militant hot yoga teachers lock the doors and don't let you out. Well, I've never met anyone that locked the door to a hot room, and I do know it's against fire code. But what I do know that some studios do, so that your belongings don't get stolen in the locker room, is they'll actually lock the outer door to the building, so you can get out from the inside, but you can't get in from the outside. So in terms of locked doors, if you've heard that myth, that probably comes from the studio owners trying to protect your wallet and your Gucci sunglasses while you were in class. The last myth that I'd really love to dispel, that we hear really frequently, I actually got kicked out of a local business owners group because the founders of it believed this was true, is that Bikram Yoga is a franchise. And while there was a franchise and an affiliation agreement presented to the public many years ago, I don't know very many people who signed it or agreed to it. In fact, I would venture to say probably 95 or higher % of the studios out there are not affiliated in any way. We are a small, locally owned business, and we always have been. We don't and haven't given any money for this business or for use of the name to the founder of Bikram Yoga. In fact, since the allegations of his bad behavior have come out, we actually don't send teachers to his teacher training anymore, and we've sought trainings and teachers and certification programs that are a little bit more ethical. So we want you to know that this is a locally small owned business, and it's always be a safe place for you to practice.